Unit 3, Lesson 2 on succession. So the goal of this lesson is to think about how changes occur within an ecosystem. And this is going to help us tackle our phenomenon of the pythons. And I will show you how that connection fits in. So to start, though, let's look at these three pictures that show the same area in Yellowstone National Park taken at three different points in time. So we have number 1, immediately after a forest fire. Number 2, a few years after the fire. Number 3, 10 years after the fire. So examine these three pictures and make a list of all the differences that you see moving from one picture to the next. All right, natural disasters like forest fires can change communities very quickly. And remember, these would be density independent factors for a population. However, even without disasters, communities can change. And we call that succession. So succession are the natural, gradual changes in communities of an area over time. So there are two types of succession that we're going to look at. The first is primary succession. And primary succession includes a series of changes that occur where there is no soil or organisms. So we're starting from nothing, all right? In this picture, we have new growth erupting from lava rock on La Réunion Island, which is a French territory found in the Indian Ocean. So literally, we're starting from bare rock. So this little plant would be called a pioneer species. So this would be the very first species that populates an area. Pioneer species tend to travel by wind or by water and are typically moss or lichen. And lichen is a mutualistic plant of two different organisms growing together. They typically start to break up the rocks, think weathering, and add organic material to the landscape. And this is how we create soil. So this primary succession, starting from bare rock, follows some stages. So the first is our bare rock. Next, pioneer species such as lichen or moss begin to grow. As the pioneer species die, soil is created, and plants can now grow in this new soil. So this is primary succession. And then eventually, as more plants die, they decompose, break down, create more fertile soil. And then maturing plants, like bushes and trees, thrive and new plant communities can grow. The second type of succession is called secondary succession. And this is a much more common type of succession. And it includes a series of changes that occur where there has been a disturbance, but there's still an ecosystem. So we're not starting from scratch. We're just changing an ecosystem that's already there. So for example, this is a pasture. So a place where someone had probably cows or other livestock grazing. And now that the grazing animals have left, it's become a meadow. It's been overgrown with grasses and wildflowers. So secondary succession, what does that look like? It starts with an event that disturbs the soil. So this could be fire, weather, farming, logging, anything like that, either human or natural causes. In a short period of time, we start getting grasses, tree seedlings, and other producers repopulating the soil, because remember, I still have soil. As the trees begin to grow, they then crowd out these low-growing plants. And eventually, we'll have a mature tree and forest community established. And that's when we get a climax community. So a climax community is when you have a stable balance of organisms within a community. And a climax community will remain stable unless a disaster occurs, restarting the cycle of succession.